Also, the guides here would inform us. We would be confronted by an adversary due to the tests we were subjected to. A common thing to expect, as when we operate in creation as we do, we create cause and effect opportunities for attacks by the dark forces, who take advantage of these windows of opportunity. They don't want us escaping their matrix of control after all, and will do all they can to discourage, waylay, and eliminate us. But then they do have to deal with the karmic fallout. Attacks can be due to a subconscious, unconscious agreement, or in this case, where we are going through our process of awareness, conscious agreement that facilitates a potential attack. This then would be the case here, and we were again prepared by the guides, who, from their positions, can oversee all of creation, every potentiality, including the attacks that may follow whatever it is we decide to do while in the simulators. As an interesting additional demonstration, Peter would pay some money, indicating how we must all earn our way. We are paying, in a sense, for our awareness and recognition of the is, as we share and present the true reality. As we take the risk, we earn our real awareness, as the is shares with us in equal measure. Everything equals itself. And now, Peter, Gwen, and I were in a car, accompanied by the guides. One guide was driving, the others assuming various seats. It was rather a large car, like a stretch limousine almost. We were continuing with our journey, standing real with the guides, and on our way to a location where our car racing test was waiting for us. In the back seat also was new friend Charles from Africa, now relocated to China, and he was in good spirits. He was sat with 2 other individuals, who I had the impression were individuals soon to come into the new presentation, but had not made their presence known yet on the physical. Here they were then, on the real side, as initially it is always here that guides will approach individuals as they recognize potential in them and provide them the opportunity to become more aware. I had the impression that these two individuals could not perceive us or the real guides, perhaps even though we were in the same location. We were all operating at different levels of awareness recognition, almost like a recognitional divide line, despite being in the same place, much like the life levels that are all in the same new nowness point, and the only thing that dictates where one might stand life level wise is their recognition. I had the impression that Charles could not perceive us or the guides either, not because he was unable, but because he was the one speaking with these two less recognitionally acute individuals, as though it was required that he assume a position in life where these two could recognize and thus perceive him, so he could best bestow information about the new presentation upon them. And indeed, this was what Charles was doing, speaking of the new song, the real guides, etc. We would reach our destination, and perhaps the tests we were to go through were unique and very individual. This would make sense, because everyone's created consciousness, their personal self, is constructed a little differently in accordance with their choices and decisions, and so naturally, to get through what would be very different created consciousness selves, Peter, Gwen, and I are bound to have uniquely catered tests by the guides. As I said earlier, my test demonstrated as a kind of virtual car race, and perhaps Gwen and Peter had their own version. I had to complete a lap within a certain time frame. There were 3 levels, and each one was progressively harder, with obstacles littering the road, and a tighter time limit by which to complete it. I succeeded with levels 1 and 2, but alas, I failed to complete the final level. Evidently then, I had successfully dismantled and released some created consciousness tapline restrictions, but not all. Still work to be done. But 2 out of 3 wasn't so bad for this particular test, and it's a long process after all. No sense in putting a time limit on it, and you must be realistic, as Dwayne says. It could take 1,000 or 1,000,000 years and lifetimes, and it's not like you're going anywhere. Perhaps the 3 levels of the race indicated aspects of the created consciousness to be resolved: the astral, causal, and mental. And something of a mental consideration idea was what I had failed to release or let go of, as it was level 3, or the mental level, that I failed to complete the lap in time. As per the guide briefing from earlier, the test would open up an attack opportunity, and this would follow the car racing test. For now, I found myself in my house, and on the 1st floor, in my personal self, and a representation then of the physical. The attack possibly would come then on the physical life level. It was demonstrated here, and may well manifest perhaps in the moments to come, as everything moves more slowly on the physical life level, due to cause and effect, which presents as the passage of time, of causal idea creations and decisions to effect experiences, whereas everything on the real side is instantaneous, as there is no physical vehicle processing the causes to effects in a linear perceived succession of individualized experiences. The attack was a male individual, but seemed to be through the technology, as I would be in my computer room on the physical level of my house, and it was through the computers that the assault took place. Always a possibility, as many beings and entities are energetic in their natures, lacking physical vehicles, but able to trespass on the physical. Energetic beings from the astral, who seem to be capable of using the black magic technologies as conduits, unsurprisingly, that the dark forces would create technology that syncs so nicely with the lower astral, and thus potentially allow for such attacks. In this case, a heads up then, an attack opportunity seized by such a distorted, energetic-based individual through my very computers, which all are portals to cyberspace dimensions after all. An attack due to the cause and effect set in motion as a result of my real-side experience of getting through the personal created self-test. It's not called the risk-taker's position for nothing, and personal concerns for safety cannot outweigh the risks and dangers we incur and invoke on the journey to becoming more aware. Anyway, seems I was unable to deal with this particular individual, but then my older brother would step in and dispel the menacing pest of an entity from my midst. Older brothers, again, often are the real guides on the real side, and this was made more apparently so here, as he dealt with this troublesome being with ease. As we become more aware, our ability to deal with individuals and situations becomes increasingly better. We become more adept and capable. The guides are always close at hand, but do allow individuals the opportunity to extricate themselves from predicaments of this nature, for this allows us to become better at handling ourselves. But on occasion, we encounter something or someone beyond our abilities to deal with, and thus the guides will be swift to assure our safety, as in this case. Sometimes the guides allow attacks if we have brought them on ourselves through cause and effect creations that are not beneficial for the whole of life and our awareness. Personal pursuits, in other words, much like astral thrill-seeking projections, and the consequent entities that may follow, as an example. But it's all experience regardless. Perhaps then I may experience this attack on the physical at some time in the future, and curiously, the attack may cease just as suddenly as it began. But armed with this real side experience, I will know why. A guide stepped in and dealt with it, unseen from my physical perception, but very real nonetheless. The physical level effect experiences always takes its time to catch up with the causes we set in motion here and on the real side. So, who knows when and if this attack may take place? Or, with such a heads up, I could choose to not have such an experience. As the decider of my experiences, nothing is beyond my ability to change or redirect. It makes you ponder how many other hazardous situations and ill-intended individuals may have been avoided and continue to be so, due to the interjection by the guides, more than we might imagine, I would suggest.
As always, terrific, Kevin. Yes, thank you so much. That explains a lot for a lot of people.